We are a few hours away from the vice presidential debate between Tim Walz and JD Vance, and last time I made a video predicting a presidential debate, I was 100% correct. And this time I'm going to make some predictions, and I think they're also going to be fairly correct. First of all, we gotta look at the strategies of what they want to do. JD Vance, according to Axios, seems to want to make this debate a chance to attack Tim Walz on his record, essentially trying to paint him as a radical. But I think that's one of the dumbest fucking things he could do. And I think it says a lot about his intelligence and the people around him, their intelligence, that this is the strategy that he wants to go with. Because let's say he goes in there and says, Tim Walz was a radical. Tim Walz has ruined the state of Minnesota. His policies are socialist. Tim Walz gets to go and make this a debate about his achievements. He gets to be like, hey, well, you're calling me a radical? Do you think making sure kids aren't hungry in the schools is radical? I made free school lunch. I made free school breakfast. You think that's radical? I legalized marijuana. Do you think that's radical? I made sure that if you're sick, you get some paid time off. I made sure that if you give birth, you get some paid time off. Is that radical? I think the American people, if Tim Walz gets to keep his cool and stays focused and composed, and he makes this point clear, I think people are gonna fuck with him even more than they already do. He's already the most popular guy in this race compared to Trump, JD, even Kamala. He's the most liked. Another big thing I want to emphasize is that JD Vance has been making a fool of himself throughout this entire race. He's been wanting to go on the front foot. He's been constantly on the attack against Kamala, against Tim, against the media. He'll literally be asked, what makes you smile? And he'll make it an attack on the media. It's a softball question and he can't even answer it straight. He comes off as an aggressive weirdo. He's gonna be on the back foot no matter how much he wants to be on the front foot. He's gonna have to answer for his statements against Donald Trump, calling him America's Hitler, insulting him constantly in 2016 when that was politically expedient, and now he's Donald Trump's VP pick. He's gonna have to answer for that. He's gonna have to answer for the fact that he's been lying about the Haitian migrants in Springfield, Ohio, eating cats and dogs, and he's been already called out for that. Not by the liberals and the news media, but by the people in Springfield, Ohio, the city officials, the local police. They say this is not happening. He's been called out by the Republican governor of the state of Ohio, his own home state, who says this is not happening. But what is happening is a lot of bomb threats because of people like you pushing this bullshit narrative. He's gonna have to answer for that. Whether it's the people, the moderators saying like, hey, how do you respond to this? Or Tim Walz, if he's smart, he's gonna be pushing that a lot against JD Vance, saying like, look, you're causing bomb threats to elementary schools because you're going after legal immigrants that just happen to be from Haiti, that are reviving the town of Springfield, that you're saying they eat fucking dogs just because they're fun, I guess. What's Tim Walz got to do? Tim Walz has to make this about his achievements. He can do that. Tim Walz has to make this about Project 2025. He can do that. And what has Tim Walz been doing that I think is a good sign for him? Well, he's been doing practice with Pete Buttigieg. And this is my take about Pete. I don't really like Pete that much, but he's a good debater. He's a good debater. And he is the perfect person that you can have to represent and play the role of JD Vance, because JD Vance and Pete Buttigieg are similar in some ways. They are of the elite. They went to the Ivy League schools. They've been around the financial industry. They are kind of fake. But Pete, in my opinion, is more talented, is a better debater, and because he honestly should be able to relate a lot to JD Vance, I think he can play the role of JD Vance in the mock debates that he's been having with Tim Walz for preparation. He could probably play JD Vance really well. With that practice, with the many built-in advantages that Tim Walz has, and the many built-in, not necessarily built-in, but caused by his own actions, the disadvantages that JD Vance has put for himself. JD Vance set himself up in a minefield, and he's surrounded by mines, and you have Tim Walz in the fucking B-2 stealth bomber directly above him that can shoot a fucking smart bomb at him and each of the fucking mines to blow them up if he wanted to do that. That's where we're at in this vice presidential debate. Now, to be fair here, JD Vance is not 80-something-year-old Donald Trump, or maybe near 80. So maybe because of his youth, he'll be a little bit better than Trump, but he is a mess. He is a mess. He has like anti-charisma. When you hear from him, you don't like him more. And I think he's gonna piss off a lot of the normies like he's been doing this whole campaign. I have no reason to believe that he won't. Meanwhile, Tim Walz has just honestly been doing a good job. The campaign should use him more. He should be out there doing the Sunday morning talk show interviews. 7 days a week of interviews, actually, because he's real good at that shit. But I don't know what the Kamala campaign is doing. They're not sending him out. Anyway, those are my predictions. That's what's gonna happen. Believe me, it's gonna happen, bro. It's gonna happen. We'll see. The debate's tonight. Come back to this video after the debate.